The dust of the high plains clung to Lila's skirts like a second skin. She had been walking for 23 days, her boots worn through at the soles, patched with strips of an old flour sack. The Wyoming wind never let up, whipping her dark hair across her face until she learned to tuck it beneath the brim of her father's faded hat. 500 miles, they said, from the broken homestead near Laramie to the sprawling Bar T Ranch outside Cheyenne. 500 miles for a promise of $10 a month and a bunk in the cookhouse. She was 26, widowed at 23 when consumption took James after only 2 winters of marriage. No children, no land left after the bank foreclosed, just a letter from her sister in Denver saying the ranch was hiring a cook's helper. Hard work, the letter read, but steady, $10 a month, room and board. They don't ask for references if you can cook and keep quiet. Lila could cook. She could scrub, mend, haul water. She could keep quiet. What she could not do was stay on the empty claim another season, watching the prairie swallow what little was left of her life. So she walked. The first 100 miles were the worst because hope still burned bright. She slept under stars, ate jerky and hard biscuits from her pack, drank from creeks when she could find them clean. A farmer's wife near Casper gave her a night's shelter and a plate of beans. In return, Lila split wood until her palms bled. After that, kindness grew scarce. Men on horseback eyed her too long. Townsfolk crossed the street. She learned to travel at dawn and dusk, to hide when she heard hoofbeats, to speak only when spoken to. By the time she reached the final stretch, her feet were blistered ruins, her dress hung in rags, and $10 a month felt like a fortune she might never live to earn. She collapsed twice on the last day, the ranch gate a shimmering mirage ahead. When she finally staggered through it, the sun was low and red, painting the corrals in fire. A man stood on the porch of the main house, tall, broad-shouldered, gray streaking his beard. Elias Thorne, owner of the Bar T. He watched her approach without moving, arms folded, eyes narrowed against the glare. "You the one answered the ad?" His voice was gravel. Lila nodded, too dry to speak at first. She swallowed, forced words out. "Lila Harper. I walked from Laramie, 500 miles, for the cook's helper position." He studied her a long moment, the torn hem, the sunken cheeks, the stubborn set of her jaw. "Most folks take the stage or the train. Couldn't afford it." $10 a month, he said, as if testing the words, plus board. "You cook?" "I do." "Clean?" "Yes." "Handle stock? Mend harness? Wash blood out of shirts after branding?" She lifted her chin. "Whatever needs doing." He grunted. "Show me your hands." She held them out, blistered, calloused, cracked from cold and work. He took one wrist gently, surprising gentleness, and turned it over, inspecting the raw places. "Been walking barefoot part of the way?" "Boots gave out 2 weeks back." He released her hand. "Come inside. Cookie's got supper on. Eat first, then we'll talk." The kitchen smelled of coffee, fried steak, and fresh bread. Lila hadn't eaten a hot meal in days. She sat at the long table with the hands, head down, trying not to wolf the food. They watched her curiously, but said nothing. Ranchmen knew hardship when they saw it. Elias sat at the head, eating slowly, observing. After the plates were cleared, he motioned her to follow him to the small office off the parlor. A lamp burned low. He closed the door. "Sit." She perched on the edge of a chair. $10 a month is what I advertised, but you're half-starved and your feet look like raw meat. You won't last a week in that condition. I'll manage." "No, you won't." He leaned back. "I've got a different offer." Her heart stuttered. "I'm not looking for charity." "Not charity. A bargain." He tapped a ledger on the desk. "My wife's sister used to run the house here. Died last winter. Fever. Left me with a 12-year-old daughter who thinks she can run the place herself, and a son who's 8 and scared of his own shadow since his mother went. I need more than a cook's helper. I need someone steady, someone who knows how to make a home out of a house full of men and grief." Lila stared. "I'm offering $25 a month, full run of the house. You cook, clean, teach the children what their mother would have, keep the books if you can read figures. In return, you get a room upstairs, not the bunkhouse, a share of the garden, and a percentage of the egg and butter money if you raise hens. And if it works out after 6 months, we talk about something permanent, a partnership maybe, or more. She could barely breathe. Why? Because I saw you walk through that gate like you'd crawl the last mile if you had to. Because my daughter watched you from the window and said, "She looks tired, Pa, but she ain't given up." Because I spent a year trying to hold this place together alone, and I'm tired too. Tears burned behind her eyes. She blinked them back. I don't know anything about children. You were a wife once. You'll learn. And if it doesn't work, then you leave with 6 months' pay and a horse. No questions. She looked at her ruined hands, then at him. Really looked. Lines of loss etched around his eyes, but kindness there, too. Not pity, respect. "I'll take it," she said quietly. He nodded once. "Good. Doc's coming tomorrow for the hand's monthly check. He'll see to your feet. Tonight you sleep in the spare room. Bathwater's heating." She stood, legs shaky. At the door she paused. "Mr. Thorne?" "Elias." "Elias, thank you." "Don't thank me yet. Work starts at dawn." But as she climbed the stairs to the room with clean sheets and a quilt that smelled faintly of lavender, her sister's scent, she realized later, she felt something shift inside her. Not just relief, something warmer. The beginning of belonging. The next morning she rose before light, feet bandaged, borrowed boots too big but serviceable. She built the fire, kneaded dough, fried bacon until the kitchen filled with the smell of home. When the children crept in, Emma with wary eyes, little Ben hiding behind her skirt, Lila smiled. "Hungry?" Emma nodded slowly. "Then sit. I've got flapjacks coming." Elias watched from the doorway, coffee in hand. He didn't speak, but the tension in his shoulders eased a fraction. Days blurred into weeks. Lila's hands healed. She taught Emma to braid dough for pies, showed Ben how to candle eggs. She mended shirts, starched collars, laughed at the hands' jokes until they started calling her Miss Lila instead of the new cook. She and Elias spoke little at first, practical things, fence repairs, supply lists, the price of beef in Cheyenne. But evenings, after the children slept, they sat on the porch sometimes, watching stars. He told her about his wife, Sarah. She told him about James. Grief shared became lighter somehow. One night in late autumn, frost silvering the grass, he found her in the kitchen rolling out pie crust by lamplight. "Can't sleep?" he asked. "Thinking about the first snow. Need to get the root cellar ready." He leaned against the doorframe. "You walked 500 miles for $10 a month." She dusted flour from her hands. "I did." "And now?" She met his gaze. "Now I stay for something worth more than money." He stepped closer. "I never thought I'd ask this again, but if you're willing, I'd like to court you proper. No rush, just see where it goes." Her heart hammered. "I'd like that." He smiled, small, real. "Good." Winter came hard, but the house held warmth. Spring brought calves, green grass, and a quiet wedding in the parlor with the hands as witnesses and Emma scattering wildflowers. Ben carried the rings on a pillow Lila stitched herself. Years later, when the children were grown and the bar tea stretched even wider, people still told the story around campfires, how a woman walked 500 miles for $10 a month, and how a lonely rancher offered her not just a job, but a life, a family, a home, and how everything changed.